John, traveling with our dog Fiona. Originally from Southern California, we left our jobs behind, sold everything, and set off for Portugal's Silver Coast.
Join us on this journey as we navigate Portuguese residency, build new friendships and community, and discover the rich history of Europe. These are the escapades of Bonnie and John. Hi, today we're going to talk about the things that it took us 2 years to learn about moving here to Portugal that nobody really talks about, and things that you'll learn as you live here and will become a part of your daily life. But these tips will help you acclimate to the culture and lifestyle that you want to live. One of the first things is if you get a washing machine with a combo dryer, it's going to take 2.5 hours for the dry cycle and usually an hour and a half for the wash cycle.
Now, not everybody has a dryer combo unit. I think very few of our friends do.
So that means they have to either hang these things outside if it's permitted on your street, or they have a drying rack that hangs out all their clothes. And in the summer, it's fine. You open a window and things will dry pretty quickly. But in the winter, when it's rainy, that is not going to happen. It's going to take days for jeans or something heavier to dry. Also, a dehumidifier is really important. And this is like another tip. We never lived with a dehumidifier in our homes in California because it was a dry climate. Here, it's a very humid climate, much more humid than anything we've ever been exposed to, even when we lived in Pennsylvania for a while. The machine goes and we empty it once a day, sometimes twice a day if it's rainy and nasty. But it's just something that is a part of your daily life. And it'll keep the sheets on your bed from feeling damp when you get into them. It'll keep your clothes in the closet from feeling musty or smelly. Many people that have a leather product after a year and coming back to seeing their boots or whatever, they'll be ruined. They'll be full of mold or something like that. So it's really important to have that dehumidifier going. We have these, what are those things called?
Mini split.
Yeah, we have mini splits that have a dry feature. So it does help. It does kind of blow out cold air. So unless it's summer, we don't really want to use the dry feature. But a dehumidifier helps. And how else does it help?
It's good for background noise. Sometimes if you live on a busy street, things go on in the middle of the night, just having that dehumidifier on like drowns out the background noise that may be coming from the street. So that it kind of serves multiple purposes.
Yeah, we run ours 24/7 all the time. Another thing we can discuss are just some of the things living in Europe, probably not specific to Portugal. The floors in a building. So ground floor is floor 0. The first floor, which in the United States would be your second floor, is floor 1. So that takes some getting used to as far as, oh, I live on the second floor. Well, that's actually the third floor, which hopefully your building has an elevator. If not, you're trekking up your groceries and everything up 3 floors. Another thing are the hours of store openings. Usually they close between 2 and 6 or 2 and 5 in the afternoon. It really depends on the store. Our post office is closed daily from 12 to 1.
Till 2?
12 to 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So it just depends on what it is. Restaurants, sometimes if they serve lunch, they'll close about 2, then they will not reopen till 7. So coming from an American lifestyle where we ate dinner almost religiously at 6 p.m. because John worked early hour shifts, here we don't even start eating until 7:30, sometimes 8, depending on how the evening's going. We've even gotten so acclimated to it that we'll be sitting here and we're like, oh, what time is it? Should we start thinking about where we're going to dinner or what we're making? And it's already 7:30, which is crazy from how we used to be. We were like counting down the minutes at 5 o'clock when we were going to be eating at 6. So,
well, the summer hours make it hard too because it doesn't really get dark until maybe close to 10 o'clock. So, yeah, eating dinner sometimes it's already maybe 8 o'clock before you realize we need to eat dinner.
Yeah, and some restaurants don't even open till 7:30. So it's always funny because we'll go and make reservations for dinner, and as Americans, this seems to always be the Americans or German or other tourists that are there. The Portuguese or the Spanish are definitely not there. We've heard from restaurant owners that we've gotten to know that at 11 o'clock, the Spanish will be rolling in for dinner. They want to close up, but that's the way that goes. Hours here are all military time. Suppose if you were in the military, it'd be easy, but looking at 15 o'clock, you're like, what is that? It's 3, so it's just, sometimes it takes a little getting used to, I think.
It does.
Yeah.
But it's fairly easy.
Yeah. So, of course, it's kilometers for miles instead of miles. It's on the metric system. So everything's centimeters instead of inches or feet. It's, meters. Baking is a little hard. It's centigrade instead of Fahrenheit for your baking dishes. So I actually put a sticker on my oven of what 350 is because I just can't seem to remember this centigrade. So, there's cheats around. Finally went over to the baking weight scale because everything's in grams. So you're putting in grams rather than cups. So that makes it easier, to get by. The store hours for here are a little different. So they do close in the middle of the day, but sometimes you'll go and the hours displayed on the sign are 2A to 4A, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. or something like that. And that took me probably until just recently what the 2A was. Well, here, Monday is
The second day of the week.
Second day of the week. So segunda-feira. So the A is for the segunda, I think, because they all have a feta at the end. So segunda-feira is the second day. So that they'll just put a 2 instead of like an MON for Monday or an SEG for segunda. They don't really do that. They'll put a 2. So those things are kind of hard. The weekend is always the name of the day, which is Sábado, right? Sábado and Domingo. So that'll always be listed if they're closed or they're open or their hours. But the days of the week are numbered. So that's the thing.
Also, the store hours are more of a suggested time. So if they close at 12 or so and they open back at 2, being there right at 2 probably isn't your best bet.
Yeah.
Maybe 2:30. Try. So you need to have some leeway in there.
Yeah. And
also, they may not open back up. So just keep all those things in mind, have patience, and maybe plan a little better because it's always good to have a plan B.
Yeah. We were supposed to go pick up mail for our friend today that she's waiting. She's on vacation. And John run down there and nope, they're not open because it's a holiday. That just popped up that we had no idea about. So you'll try again tomorrow. Another thing is, speaking of when they might open or when they don't, reservations for restaurants is still very much a thing here, which we were very not aware of or accustomed to doing. So we make reservations all the time. There's apps, or you can call their restaurant and make it. Most of them have, like on the Fork app, you can make reservations. But even then, you make a reservation for lunch at 12:30. They're not quite open. They're still sweeping the floor. So don't go hangry to lunch or dinner. It might get you upset that you have to wait 10 minutes because in our American culture, things are on time and the customer is always right. So you would never open late when you have reservations because it would upset the patrons. But here, I mean, you might get an apology, more like, thank you for waiting for us. Sorry that we're late. But it might be 10 minutes late. So, take everything with a little ease. Another one, Amazon. I had gotten very used to having an Amazon package at my door on the daily, ordering it at 10 o'clock at night. And lo and behold, it'd be on my doorstep at 7 a.m. So that does not happen here. You have to be home to receive the package. They don't leave it at your doorstep or in the hallway or anything like that. I remember the first time I had ordered something, I put a note on our building door to leave the package, because there's an outside door and then there's like an inner door, but that gets you to several apartments. So that one I felt was like safe. I hadn't even really thought about it. And our neighbor was like, they don't do that. They have to bring it to you. There are these lock boxes throughout town that when you do deliver, you can pick that as a place for delivery. So then you can pick it up at your convenience, because it's not convenient waiting all day for them to show up. And sometimes they don't. They don't call, they don't knock on the door or ring your bell. You just get a notice that they tried, and now you got to go hunt it down someplace, which is very hard. And it pulls your hair out because you're looking all over the place. You're walking to 3 or 4 different drop points trying to find your package. Some people have an easier time with it, but we have found we rarely.
You have found
What?
Amazon.
Yeah, I hardly.
I don't order anything from Amazon.
Yeah, I don't order anything either. I do order some clothing sometimes on a website that I did from the US. They have one that's in Spain, warehouse, so they do come, but it's a good 2 weeks. I don't remember what it was in the States. I remember it being a little faster, but here it's at least 2 weeks. And I did figure out this time, which I've ordered like 4 times since living here, that I can get it to the drop point, which is a tobacco and lottery shop that's around the corner. And they have not lockers, but they'll deliver it there, kind of like a little UPS store, sort of. Coming back to that, clothing sizes. John wears an 11.5 tennis shoe, and that is very hard to find here as far as larger shoes or larger clothing. I'm not a size 6, far from it. And clothing for me is difficult to find. I tend to buy all my clothes when we go back to the States on our biannual trip, because I don't know, I guess I'm used to the clothes there. I like the clothes here. They are definitely more formal. I mean, you'll see men wearing even nice jeans, but slacks, loafers, sports coats.
Nice shirt, button-up shirt.
For sure. And it's not like you're looking at them that they're a lawyer or whatever walking around. They could be. I mean, we don't know. But generally, shorts are not worn in the winter.
No.
John had to buy jeans when we moved here because he wore shorts every day.
Time.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things that you change. I remember coming here and the style was, even for women of my age, to wear jeans, the destroyed jeans or distressed with like holes in them or something like that. And I got here in Lisbon, you just did not see that. So I went into a store and bought regular dark wash jeans pretty quickly because I just felt out of place. You might see them on a 13-year-old girl, and you see them on people that you can definitely tell are tourists. But on the general, you don't see mature women wearing destroyed jeans.
No.
You also don't see them in flip-flops, but I still wear my flip-flops. I'm still a California girl. I don't know if you're ever going to get me out of them other than it being rainy and cold. So bigger shoes are hard to come by. My shoes, I wear a size 9 in US sizes, which here I think is a 39 or 40, and they're hard to come by. They'll get 1 or 2 boxes of, the shoes when they come in, and then they'll be gone, and they just don't order them. There's a lot of women in a size 5 shoe here, which is crazy to me. I think I stopped wearing a size 5 in like 5th grade or something.
So if there's clothing or there's shoes that are very specific to you, I would recommend getting them in the States, or again, planning ahead if there's something you really need.
Yeah, it's different because there's not like a big department store here. They don't have a Macy's that has different brands in it. I think there's a couple. There's like Ingles. What's that name of that store?
El Corte Inglés.
Yeah, El Corte Inglés. It's a Spanish company. There's the nearest one here is in Porto or Lisbon. So you're going to have to travel for that. And that's kind of a department store kind of like a Macy's. So it's a little, I wouldn't say high end, but higher end clothing. It's just not like that where you're going to go in and you're going to have, there's a Levi's store in our mall. You're not going to find Levi's in like some of the department store, but they're few and far between. One of the things that we wanted to discuss, which I think a lot of people worry about, I was definitely worried about it, your social life. I was worried that if I got here and I didn't make any friends or I couldn't speak the language, then I would probably want to move back to the States because, okay. Most communities have a pretty strong Facebook group of immigrants that are trying to like figure it out, and you can make friends out of that. You might find a WhatsApp chat, and that was really imperative to us finding friends and meeting a community. Then and it really expands, and I think it's because people, for one, most people aren't working, at least not the 8 to 5 job, and then exhausted at the end of the day, and they have time to go meet friends for dinner, for happy hour, cocktails. We were invited, I think it was like last year, a newer person had moved into town and he was celebrating his 60th birthday. And he had invited probably 20 people to a restaurant, had a big reservation, and it was very nice. We didn't know him a huge amount. We were kind of surprised to get the invite, but we went. And later that evening, we were speaking to him about what a turnout he had had. And he was just shocked. He's like, in a place that I had lived at I think they came from California, for 20 years, he's like, if I had invited, he's like, for one, I hardly knew 30 people. And if I had invited them to my birthday dinner at a restaurant on a Thursday night, maybe 4 people would have shown up, not because they didn't like him or anything like that. It's just people are so busy with their lives and you just didn't really know too many people. Where in this, he barely knew anyone, and all these people showed up, and it was really nice because your social life and network just expands, and you have more time and you make more connections with people. Maybe it's because a lot of us are, I don't want to say the same frame of mind, but we definitely have some more similarities.
People have the things in common, like travel. They moved here also to be able to take shorter trips to different places in Europe.
So within our social network, many of us have brought our dogs from America. And with that, there was always like, how are we going to travel with a dog? They do take a lot of time. It's not easy to get them on a plane, especially if they're larger. But in our circle, and maybe we are fortunate in this that it doesn't happen for everyone, we all kind of share the responsibility and take turns dog sitting. Like this week we're watching our friend's dog, Luna. And when they get back, we're going away for the weekend and they'll be watching Fiona. And there's other friends that we watch their dogs, or, it's a lot of dog watching and dog walking, but it's very nice. So you can feel that you can get away for the weekend or do something. There's Luna right there. So it's just a lot of fun, and we all love our pets and we understand that it was a big part of our lives moving here. It's just one of these things. When you have your dogs, you can bring them with you and you don't have to feel that you have to leave them behind in the States. There's a lot of videos out there on YouTube that discuss what you can do and how to do it. And maybe we'll make one at some point and talk about the different ways that we did it compared to the way Luna's parents did it.
We hope you liked the video. If you have any more questions, put them down in the comments below. Be happy to answer them. So until our next video, ciao.
Ciao.